So it's time that we make a transition into digital rendering. For the rest of the semester, we're going to use Blender and its new photorealistic render engine cycles. Few things ahead, because Blender is open source. There are actually no purchasing costs involved. The software runs on Mac as well as PC, and it is a pretty powerful software. So as you can see here, I pulled up some interior renderings, and if you quickly flip through them, you see that you can get actually pretty stunning results out of it. Here are some outside renderings from Enterprises Architectural Academy, and I think those images pretty much speak for themselves. Okay, so to download Blender, you can go to blender.org and then click on Blender 273. The software is developed on a pretty high basis, so from time to time you might want to go back and see if there's a new version out. I'm going to download my Mac version. You can download your Windows. I would use the installer, not the zip one. And just click on it, click on kind of like a server, and then it downloads it. In addition, on the course website, I inserted a link to the new SketchUp importer for Blender, because we can actually now import completely textured models right into Blender from SketchUp, which is pretty nice. So when you click on the link, you will be redirected to the blenderartist.org forum, and then here you have your Mac and your Windows download. Simply click on those, download them, don't unzip them, just keep them just as zip files. So for example here I am clicking on this one and downloading it. Okay, and let's go to Blender. Okay, so let's actually take a moment to explain the interface and how it works. Blender uses a non-overlapping method to present all the different views and dialogues. So instead of having pop-ups, you see everything is blocked into individual viewports. Blender is a pretty powerful software. It can also do animation, special effects and such. We're pretty much going to use it only to place cameras, add materials, and then do renderings of our exhibition and interior spaces. So for that, we might want to configure it a little bit. So first, maybe let's take a look at how we can adjust the interface. You see in the lower left and upper right corner, there are those triangles. And when you move your mouse over some edges of those viewports, you see that the mouse cursor changes to like a line and two arrows. That means I can now drag this part left and right. I can drag this one up and down. And for example, here I can either, and this is now really important to understand, I would like to merge those two viewports. So you can left mouse button, click, hold, and move straight up. You see, or straight down. You see how actually it gives you such an arrow. And the same I could do here, up and down. And if I go down, you will see that those two are being merged together. So sometimes what beginners make as an accident is they click and move to the side, and then actually you start slicing, and then you do it again, you slice again, you do it again, you slice again, and then you move down, and you move to the side, and you move down. So it's very, very sensitive. That part of the UI is extremely picky with minimal mouse movements. So really left-right, you start slicing or joining. Vertical, you start slicing and joining. So for example, let's undo all this stuff. And you see here I can easily join all those together, and maybe here I would like to join it, and ooh, wrong mouse movement. Doesn't join. Why? Worked before. Well, the thing is, on the left side we have a different layout than here, so we can't really join them. Let's see what I can do here. Can I join this one? No, it doesn't work, and doesn't work. And that's because this one is unequal this one. But these two are actually in this bigger rectangle. So I can actually first, or I have to join it this way, and then I have to see where are logical blocks. There, this makes sense. This still doesn't work because I have 2 and 1. If I join this one, and then I can join this one. Okay. If you prefer to have all your palettes on your left side and your workspace on the right side, we're going to utilize such an interface layout. So you see that I joined those two parts, and then into each viewport you can actually load content. For example, like the 3D view. So now here I would like to see my 3D space, and here I can click on this pull-down menu. I would like to see my properties, so my buttons and options and whatnot. Okay. So maybe move this one to here. And then just as an exercise, let's say, and that's a nice thing about Blender compared to SketchUp, we can work with multiple views. So you see here we can actually slice it this way, and then we can go to view and say maybe a front view, here maybe a top view, and here maybe a right view. And when you press 5 on your numpad, you see you switch between the perspective and orthographic. Okay, so before we go further, we have to do some more settings. So let's go to User Preferences, go to System, and that's where we will start setting up everything. So this one we set to 16, Regional Overlap. Then we go to File, turn this one on, Compress. We can go to Add-on. Here you want to click on Install, and then go to where you have downloaded your SketchUp, and then click on Install. I already have it installed, so that's the reason why I click Cancel. And then once you have it installed, here we can type in SketchUp. And you see here now it shows you the SketchUp importer, and you want to click on this check mark. Perfect. Let's go to Input. This one you want to keep on. You want left. And now this one is important for all the laptop users, because my view on my numpad, I can type 1, 3, or 7, and you see I switch between the views. Even 8 and 2 I can move up and down. 4 and 6 left and right, and 5 I can switch between perspective and orthographic. That works only on the numpad. Now if you are actually on a laptop, you don't probably have a numpad, so you want to click Emulate Numpad, and then the numbers above your letters will function as your views. And let's go to Edit, Steps. We can set to 256. Just a little intro into how to use those sliders. You can click left mouse button, hold, and then drag left and right. We can also click on those ends. You can also click, but don't drag obviously, don't hold, and then type in, for example, a value. And I think I have a special version downloaded. Your max steps is 64. Let's see if we have interface something. Zoom to mouse position, that one you want to have, because this one actually, wherever my mouse is, it actually zooms to, which is actually really useful. Okay, then you can click on Save User Setting, close this one, and also here you can click Save User Setting. And what that basically means is when you quit Blender and you restart it, so I'm going to quit Blender, and then I'm going to restart it. You will see actually that it then reloads your previous settings, and that also includes the interface, how you slice everything up. So because this is my workspace, here I show you how this works. So Save User Settings, click. So by the way, now when you click on this one, you get a dialog. Do you really want? So yes, I really want to. Click again. Close it. And let's go back. And there you see now the space is sliced. So the way how this actually works is with Blender, it saves the preferences for like how you configured the software, but it also creates then a template blend file for how the interface is sliced up. And that's basically what it does. It's pretty nice. So before we continue, few more things. You want to set Blender render actually to cycles. And then you want to go to the scene button and click on Imperial. The nice thing about Blender is actually, in contrast to SketchUp, it doesn't really use like large scale or small scale templates. If I go into top view with 7, and you see I'm in feet now. If I zoom in more, you see actually that it changes the grid. Now everything what you see, this is all 1 inch. Well, remains an inch. And now this square is representing a foot. And if we zoom out more, now this represents yard and chains. So you see actually it's very dynamic. So that's actually pretty nice. Because then based on the grid you can always really see how big something really might be. Okay, so that's all for how to configure and set up Blender.